You're listening to the Plane Talking UK podcast, the UK-based podcast written by a passenger for anyone. And here are your hosts, Carl Stebbings and Matt Smith.
Well, hello and welcome to episode number 132 of the Plane Talking UK podcast. I'm Carl Stebbings, and joining me in the spare room studio again this week is my co-host Matt Smith.
No, I'm the co-host. This is the... No, never mind.
I swear.
Matt's had a very long week this week.
He's
He's
on
a
another
little
planet.
tired. Yes. What do you mean another planet? What are you trying to say?
I don't know.
I haven't crashed into any comets or anything this week.
Haven't
It's
you?
fine. No, it's
Oh,
fine.
good, because you've got a new coach and you hate to ruin it.
Cool. You have met my boss, right?
Oh, I know.
I ain't
She's
crashed into my new
scary.
coach.
She's
Yes,
scary.
Very scary, absolutely.
So welcome to episode 132 then. It is the 30th of September,
It is,
and the
yes.
time is just coming up to 7:25 in the evening here in the UK.
That ladies and
late this
gentlemen,
week.
is being
smidgen late
directed
this
at
week.
me because I've made us run a little bit late. I'm very sorry. Yes, 7:25. I'm so sorry.
But we have got two, as you know, for those of you who follow us on Twitter and the Book of Face, we have got two amazing guests on with us this week. And the first guest, well, she's just awesome, really. And, at the end of the day, she's blinking awesome. And for those of you who have listened to the Aviation Careers podcast, may have heard her on there a few weeks back in August. And she runs an awesome site, Tales from the Terminal. So welcome onto the show, Jennifer.
Hello. Thanks for having me. It's really exciting to be here.
Great. And thank you for agreeing to come on and enjoy the chaos that is
Chaos,
this show.
Carlos created
Absolutely.
chaos. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we have another guest with us today as well.
Yes, as if my life isn't
I
complicated
know, as
enough.
if he's not. I try to make things hard for him every week.
Yeah.
Yes, we have another guest with us, and it's a certain person that me and Matt met up with at Riyadh. We met up with this
Yes.
year. And he takes some awesome photos. We've got another great photographer who's here for the show.
Aviation and decent photography do seem to sort of go
I know.
hand in hand, don't they?
And he's a massive military aviation fan.
We're very excited about that.
So welcome onto the show, Jonathan.
Hello. Good evening.
Everybody's short of words this evening.
know.
I don't know. This is going to be one
That's
of those.
because we've been sort of like rambling on for the last half an hour.
Hey,
in the
I don't
pre-show-
ramble. Everything
pre-show chat.
that I say is pure radio gold. That's what it is.
I know. So
That's
Jennifer,
awesome.
whereabouts on the planet of Earth are you this evening?
I'm in the Midwest in, well, it's a state that it's round on the ends and high in the middle. And I'm sort of in the middle of that state. And that's where I am. It's raining here today. In fact, it's storming. So if I disappear suddenly,
Right,
you guys will
yes.
know why.
Okay, we'll know why.
We'll know why.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the connection
Sorry.
has fallen over. So whereabouts in the world are you, Jonathan, today?
I'm in the UK, not so.
Oh, I am so
tropical.
sorry. My commiserations
Yeah,
to
High
you.
Worth, near Swindon.
Oh, near Swindon.
Oh, Swindon. Oh,
Swindon.
classy.
Very nice.
Right. Oh, lovely. What a lovely part of the world. Yes. They
Excellent.
like their skyscrapers and concrete buildings, don't they, in Swindon?
So Jonathan,
Yeah.
you've got an
Hence I'm
important.
outsider.
Jonathan's got an important job for the show
Very
this
much so.
week.
Yes,
What
yes.
we've done, we've lumbered Jonathan with the whole task of producing the aviation military segment for the show this week. So
Good.
it's all on him.
It's about time
So
somebody
we've
who knew what
left-
they were doing was doing the military, let's be
So
honest.
we've left Jonathan to do all the military stuff.
Okay.
We've got some feedback
Oh,
from.
what? No, I'm sorry. He's just sneakily done that while the camera wasn't on him, and I'm going to ask him to do. What's in your tankard, good sir? What is the
my
ale of
tankard?
choice? Yes.
It is Boneyard Bingo.
Wait, Hobgoblin.
Oh, Hobgoblin.
Excellent choice.
Very
Excellent
good, very
choice,
good.
It had to be in an appropriate glass.
Look at
Yes.
that!
Oh.
How cool is that?
Lovely.
That is awesome.
I
Oh,
like
I'm,
that. I
I'm
like
very
that.
impressed.
Very
I'm
impressed.
Anyway, shall we do
So
some stories?
We've got some feedback later on the show from one of our listeners, Fabien. And we've also got some awesome feedback from our main man, Micah.
And also the lovely Mila.
And the lovely Mila as well. Yes, we've got some video feedback.
We've got some video feedback this time. That's the first, yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, I have loaded it, haven't I? I can't remember. I don't think I loaded it. That's all right. I'll work it out.
But we are going to...
I need to lie down.
But we are going to start the show then, as we do each week.
Are you sure?
With our rundown of the weekly news from around the world and the UK. So if you're ready, Matt.
Yes, I think so.
I hope so. And if you're ready, Jennifer.
I'm ready.
And Jonathan.
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Okay, let's go.
So, kicking off this week's first news story then on the BBC website.
Ooh, good old BBC.
Good old BBC. And the headline is Air Rage Incident Saw on UK Flights. Not that we don't cover an air rage incident at some point in every show near enough.
Pretty
at
much
the moment.
these days, yes.
This week it's not Jet 2, though.
Oh, that makes a change.
So
I'm sure they're thrilled.
So the story then says the number of air rage incidents in the UK has quadrupled over a 3-year period, according to figures seen by the BBC. The Civil Aviation Authority, the CAA, data shows that there were 386 dangerous incidents in 2015 compared with just 85 in 2013. The head of leading budget airline has suggested people who cause trouble could be banned by all operators. It's an offence to be drunk on board an aircraft or to refuse to obey instructions given by the captain and crew. Examples of incidents quoted by the CAA include disruptive passengers fighting each other and one passenger who had to be restrained during a flight after progressively disruptive behaviour before attempting to try and open the aircraft door. It took 4 policemen to remove one passenger who was described as uncontrollably and verbally abusive in another incident. Growing levels of verbal or physical violence from passengers have been witnessed firsthand by cabin crew members, or cabin crew member Dan Eyre, a pseudonym used by the writer of the Confessions of a Trolley Dolly blog. Dan has worked for UK-based airlines for 11 years, and certainly the last 2 or 3 years it's got worse. Alcohol-fueled, drug-fueled, he said. People, a lot of the time, don't actually realise they're on board an aircraft. I think a lot of people think that they're in a club or a bar. They behave like animals, and you... and there's no. Well, the story goes on anyway. It carries on, but to say about Jet 2, but which we've covered in previous shows before. But you know, this is something that's that needs to be addressed. I think if the problem's getting worse, and there's obviously a reason for this. Obviously, alcohol being the main reason, because people do tend to have a nice little drink before they go on board aircraft for a flight. I mean, I know I do have a small whiskey or a beer before I travel on a plane.
I have to confess, it's the only
purely
time.
One.
It's the only time I've ever indulged in early morning drinking. Is when I'm getting on a plane to go. It's like the first thing I do is once I'm through not departures, the other one. Once I'm through security, that's it. Straight to Wetherspoons, and it's the only time that I've ever had a large pint of cider at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, Glenn Towers put in the chat room
how early
ejection seats.
people drink at airports, though.
Yeah, but you have to, don't you? Isn't that part of the whole holiday experience? No, okay.
I was there 4 o'clock in the morning getting breakfast at Gatwick last year, and there's people with a pint in their hand.
See, that's fine.
So,
I don't know. I don't see a problem with that. But then, you know, I'm borderline alcoholic. No, did I say that out loud? No.
Is this a problem that you see sort of where you are, Jen, over across the pond there?
Yeah, I think we do. I don't know if we see it to the same extent, maybe. Remind me, on most of your airlines, are the beverages free, or do you have to pay for them?
No, you have to pay for them.
No, the low-cost carrier, like Ryanair and EasyJet and Jet2, you have to pay for your alcoholic beverages. But when you fly long-haul with BA or Virgin, the longer-haul carriers, even in economy, the drinks are all free.
Oh, well.
Well, I have to admit, I have not flown commercially in a long, long time. I mean, it's probably been 7 or 8 years. As far as seeing that kind of behavior at the airport, I don't think at the airport where I work, they start serving alcohol until later in the day. So if you show up at my airport and want to get a drink early, I don't think you're going to be able to get one before you get on the airplane.
Ah, that's interesting because we spoke to Micah and Steph in the last show, didn't we? And they said it's not, the problem is not the same in the US as it is here in the UK. It just seems to be, I think we're worse than any other country.
British binge drinking culture.
Exactly.
Yeah,
very true.
I would agree. I don't think we hear about it quite as often here.
So moving on to the next story, and this one is all for you, Matt. And for a change this week, I've neglected to give you a Ryanair story.
No, you just give me. I know, absolutely. No, yes, you have.
No, it's not.
Okay, well, it's still mentioned. Never mind. Anyway, this is the travel. Sigh. As I say, Owen's in the chat room on Facebook, and I apologise to him in advance. Travel Mole is the website, and the headline is: Jet2 passengers spend more on extras than a certain low-cost carrier. Both low-cost carriers here in the UK, so that's Ryanair or EasyJet. Budget airline Jet2.com has the second highest ancillary revenue per passenger out of 67 airlines around the world, according to a new study. Only US-based Spirit Airlines earned more per passenger than Jet2, which this week launched its 9th UK base at Stansted. According to American consultancy IdeaWorks, the UK's low-cost carrier passengers paid £39 each on extras, including in-flight meals and extra legroom in 2015. Ancillary revenue made up almost 30% of its total income, up from just under 15% in 2008. In comparison, Ryanair, just over a quarter of its income from sale of extras, probably those dodgy stretch cards, but anyway, putting it in fifth in the table. EasyJet made around a fifth, and Flybe's 21%. Full-service airlines British Airways and Virgin Atlantic made less than 5% of their revenue from ancillary sales. The three largest US airlines, United, American and Delta, earned the most from the sales of added extras. Ryanair was in sixth place, which, given it's a whole world poll of airlines, is a pretty impressive number, earning $1.7 billion, and EasyJet earned around about $1.5 billion, putting it in eighth place. IdeaWorks concluded there is plenty of activity to suggest ancillary revenue will continue to grow in total as a percentage of airline revenue and on a per passenger basis.
It's a big thing, and ancillary revenue, stuff like that, with the extras and stuff you get on board aircraft.
Yes,
it is a good way for airlines to to make up their money as such, because they're offering these cheap seats, which they do. Ryanair and EasyJet offer cheap seats on a lot of their flights, if you're just carrying hand luggage on. And the best way to bulk up to make extra money is with paying extra for extra legroom seats.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, baggage fees and all the other bits of the food, and obviously they still do duty-free sales, I think, on board Ryanair.
Oh yeah, no,
flights,
absolutely, yeah,
which is a good way of
it's a good way of
generating extra money. Yeah.
Anyway, on to the next story,
which is
that's mine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh, very exciting. All right, hold on.
Oh, bless you,
Of
Jenny.
course, I'm not prepared.
Jennifer,
Why would I be prepared?
You need to get out more, my dear. I'm very worried about you. I won't lie.
All right, so this one comes from The Guardian, and it says, British woman, 26, becomes world's youngest airline captain, or one of the world's youngest airline captains. A British woman has become one of the world's youngest commercial airline captains at the age of 26. Kate McWilliams from Carlisle said that she is asked about her age by cabin crew and passengers almost daily, and most people are pleasantly surprised and impressed when she tells them. McWilliams began flying in the Air Cadets age 13. Wow, that seems awfully young. Before going on a training program at CTC Aviation in Southampton on her 19th birthday, then joining EasyJet as a first officer in May 2011. She recently rose to the rank of captain after passing the airline's command course. An EasyJet spokeswoman said the budget carrier believes McWilliams is the world's youngest commercial airline captain. McWilliams said, personally, I don't think my age matters. I've been through the same training and passed the same command course as every other captain, so I've proven myself capable regardless of my age. I do now get asked how old I am on almost daily basis, which didn't used to happen when I was a first officer. McWilliams lives in, not sure how to pronounce that,
Reigate,
Surrey?
sorry.
Reigate,
here.
Surrey.
Yeah. It's our weird English names.
Yes. It is based at Gatwick Airport. She flies Airbus A319 and A320 planes to about 100 destinations, including Reykjavik, Tel Aviv, and Marrakesh. McWilliams said that when she was growing up, she did not think it was an option to become a commercial pilot, but she has never looked back since beginning her training. I love being a commercial pilot for EasyJet, and I am proud that I have now achieved my ambition of becoming a captain. Only 5% of commercial pilots are women, and last year EasyJet announced an initiative to double the proportion of new female entrants to 12% over 2 years. And then I think it goes on to say that the first officer was only 19.
That's really quite young as well, isn't it? I mean,
it does seem just a little bit young, yes.
I mean, I suppose we shouldn't really sort of be quite perhaps so sniffy. I mean, at the end of the day, they've had to sit through the same training. I think it's just as everybody knows, I'm quite a nervous passenger, and maybe my concern is perhaps whilst I'm sure they've passed all the exams and you know the simulations and all that kind of thing with flying colours. Sometimes there is just no substitute for experience. You know, but
yeah,
then I guess you've got
agree with you.
You've got to start somewhere, I suppose. That's the difficulty, isn't it? You can't just, at the end of the day, you can't come to a new industry and suddenly be an expert in everything. You know, I don't know.
That's true.
But it is, I mean, hats off to her. I'm happy when I see stories like this, 'cause I think it's great because obviously, you know, she's put a lot of effort into what she's done and probably money as well.
Well, yes.
It's not a cheap thing to do.
No, it is not.
And there's a heck of a lot of learning involved in getting to the stage where she is now. So, yeah, good on her, I say.
Indeed.
And what do you suppose she was doing at age 13? Now, I know they said that she was part of the Air Cadets.
Yeah, we have that.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
She do gliding and light aircraft flying.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
I used to
All
do
right.
that from about 13, 14.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Get you.
yeah, I did lots of
Excellent.
gliding.
Get you. Very posh.
Yeah, it's
Very
great.
posh indeed.
Excellent.
Yeah, they let you do quite a lot of things in the Air Cadets in the UK. Here.
Yes,
Yeah, you
yeah.
can from an early age.
Well,
you
it's the same
can
in
go
standard
gliding.
military as well, isn't it? Because I know all right, I can only use driving an example, but the first thing that they do when you join the army is they put you through all your various driving tests. So you do everything from HGV to car test to the lot, don't you? They'll put you right up to an Arctic license because it's useful for obviously the military. But of course, when you leave, you've got those skills already under your belt, haven't you? So I suppose it's the same with the Air Cadets, isn't it?
Yeah, I
You
wish
do
I'd have
something.
joined the Air Cadets as a child. I should have done that.
Yeah,
Why
you
didn't
d-
I
you,
do
you
that?
do now, yes.
Why didn't I do
absolutely,
that? No.
Yes.
Can I turn the clock back
No.
30 years?
No, that's
You
it.
can't
It's one of
join
those
now?
things
No.
I did as a child and wish I'd gone further with after.
And it's all right for you though, Jonathan, because you're not 40 and old like Carlos. You see, that's the advantage.
40 is the new 20.
Is it?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep telling
Or is it
yourself
21?
that.
Oh,
That's
we're
fine.
not complaining about being 40, are we?
Yeah, we
no,
are.
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. No. So no, as I've said in
Better
previous.
not be.
No. As I said in previous shows, this year I also get to celebrate the 10th anniversary of my 30th. But we'll gloss over that and move on. Okay, next story, please, someone. That's it. It's out of control. Episode 132 is out of control. Right, whose go is it? Is it Micah?
It's Jonathan's go.
It's Jonathan's
This
go,
one,
It's
is he?
mine.
Oh, excellent. Okay, cool.
It is.
Fire away.
Mystery airline orders $450 million of super first class suites. What's better than first class? Super first class, of course.
What's the difference? Maybe that'll be answered
As-
in the story.
As to just how much better, we'll find out in late 2017 when an as yet unnamed airline rolls out priority high-end super first class suites on its factory fresh Boeing 777s. The suites are being designed by BE Aerospace as part of a contract worth $450 million, or Australian for 593. So you can kind of
Yeah,
guess
a
what
lot
airline,
of
I
money.
reckon.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the firm's keeping mum on the identity of its big spending customer, which it describes only as a major international airline, one of the world's leading global airlines. The super suites, which we're told will be designed with luxurious amenities, extraordinary comfort and living space, while also providing enhanced privacy for the passenger, will debut on the airline's new 777s, of which initial deliveries are expected in late 2017. There's also an option to outfit additional wide-body aircraft, which encompasses a Boeing 787, Airbus A380 or A350. BE Aerospace current flagship first-class suite is the Oasis family. Oasis? Didn't Oasis fly the 747-400?
I thought they were a big 90s
Yeah,
rock
the
band,
four-
but anyway, that's
no.
just
I
me.
thought Oasis also didn't last very long, so
Ah,
I'm not sure about that.
oh, okay.
But it's got lots of pictures on here, I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, we've been popping
We've
them
been
up while you've
popping
been
them up,
reading the
yeah.
story.
Ah,
out.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite swanky.
It is very swanky. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. That's all right. We'll give it a couple of months. Then we'll write to Sam Chewy again and see if he's been on
Yeah,
one
I'm
yet.
sure that Sam is probably going to be the first people, one of the
Cool,
first
yeah.
people to try the.
You want to just send a few emails off, say, can we review your super first class suites?
Yeah, we've tried that. It didn't wash for some reason.
Do you know what? I this week when I was glancing on the BA's website to see if our prices have gone up for the flights that we've got going out to Oman next month. Just to be curious to see if the prices have gone up, which they had, only by 50 quid, which is 50 quid. But I also had a look on their website to see how much it would cost me and Gemma to fly first class with BA to Oman.
And did you get an immediate nosebleed?
Any idea, guys, how much it was going to cost? To put it into context, it was 800 quid return, or £400 each, to fly economy to Oman, just the other side of Dubai.
I reckon you could probably
any
double
ideas?
it.
Any ideas on first class with BA, Jen?
$1 million. Honestly, I have no idea.
That's first class with Ryanair.
That's first class. Yeah.
Well,
what is first class
No, that's
on Ryanair?
super first class.
Yeah, super class, first class. Well, what do you reckon? I don't know. I'm gonna have a stab at it. So where are we flying from? Remind me, to Oman.
This was from Heathrow.
Yep.
To Oman, which is just literally the other side of Dubai.
Am I allowed to ask the question? How much have you paid for your ordinary ticket? Just to give me a ballpark.
800 quid.
£800.
800 quid for
All
economy.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So for
Is that
economy,
each?
No, that was for both of us. That was
So
400 quid each.
400 quid each.
Yeah,
so
return.
to go for first class, I'm going
First
to
class.
say 1,500 quid each.
I'd say pushing 2,000.
Really?
Okay, so for the first class flights, this is for both of us. BA came back with a figure of just over £14,000.
What?
Which is
No!
which is
Just
it works
for a
out
leather
about
seat.
which is about
Just for
18.
a
I think it works out about
Leather seat and a bit of
$18,000
champagne. That's a
for you,
lot.
Jen.
Wow.
About $18,000, yeah, to fly. That's a 9. Let me get this right. It was a 9. I think we should be a 9-hour flight, just over 9-hour flight, with a stop in Abu Dhabi. Yeah, 14 grand. just
Good
over.
Lord.
Unbelievable.
I don't even. I just. I
And
That's
do you know what?
ridiculous.
To be totally honest with
So
you,
you
when
bought one immediately, obviously.
if you look at the difference between the first class or business class or first class in BA compared to Emirates, there's quite a bit of difference actually. I have to say it was quite different. But
yes, I know, but it's not worth that much.
it was
money.
an eye opener. Trust me, it was an eye opener. It definitely.
I mean, it does make you wonder if it might have been cheaper for you to sort of, privately charter SafeJet and get them to
I was
take you there.
just going to say that.
I mean,
was just
seriously.
going to say
8,000
that.
could probably charter something.
Well, this is
If you
it.
can afford that, you can afford to charter
Well, this
something,
is
I
it.
think.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's bizarre. I mean, it's not like the plane isn't going already.
I know. So if you're listening, BA,
Yeah, good luck with that.
if you're listening, BA, it would be lovely to try first class.
I must
just to see
admit,
what
I'm a
it's
bit
like.
nervous because my boss is flying out to the Canaries. She's leaving first thing tomorrow morning. and she's flying with BA. In fact, actually, this is the first time that she's flown with BA, and they haven't cancelled her flight a couple of weeks before she goes. So, yeah, I don't think she's...
The crazy thing is, you know that they've sold some of them seats. Someone's gone, 14,000. Yeah,
bargain.
okay.
I'll have to.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'll put that on the card.
Yeah, I fear you may be right.
God, imagine the amount of Avios points you'd get with that.
Oh, God, yeah, they'd definitely be worth having.
God, Neville would be. He'd love that. So anyway, moving swiftly on to the next news story is on the Mail Online site, and the headline: Delta Airlines flight is diverted to land at Manchester Airport after a Samsung tablet jammed under a seat overheats and starts to smoke in the cabin.
Oh, good Lord.
So a Samsung tablet wedged under a seat on a Delta Airlines flight began smoking when it overheated, causing the plane to be diverted. Emergency services met flight DL138 from Detroit at Manchester Airport after it diverted there on its way to Amsterdam, following reports of smoke in the cabin.
Wow.
The tablet had become jammed under a seat in the premium class.
Now, I'm going to make you pause there a minute.
He's going to show you the
I'm just going to put the picture up. If you're watching on YouTube, this is, well, I'm going to say frightening. That's a good choice of word, I think. Anyway.
Quite a nice tablet.
It was. I'm sure it was a lovely tablet. Yes. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so the tablet had become jammed under a seat in premium class and left under the seat cover where it started smoking, and passengers smelt a strange odour. I should think they did at looking like that.
Yeah, right.
Maintenance staff at Manchester Airport found the tablet, which had been invisible to passengers and cabin crew, and was probably left by a previous passenger. The seat was believed to have been replaced while the Boeing 767-400 was on the ground before the flight continued to the Netherlands with a 3-hour delay. Some of the passengers on subsequent flights claimed Delta staff asked them to turn off their Samsung devices, and the Federal Aviation Administration is now investigating. Delta has since confirmed that the device was made by Samsung but not a Note 7 model, which is currently under a huge recall after reports of battery fires. A spokesman for the airline said the aircraft landed safely, and Delta's maintenance team quickly found the source, and the aircraft was cleared to continue its journey. The flight arrived in Amsterdam at 2:55 p.m. and the device in question fell below the seat, and it had become jammed, which caused the malfunction. A Samsung spokesman told Mail Online it appears the external factors contributed to the accident or the incident, and this is not related to the Galaxy Note 7. We've reached out to Delta to investigate the cause and is yet to be determined. Well, it's obvious someone's left it on the aircraft.
Well, I think very much to be fair to Samsung here, it's just basically got wedged down the seats. The seats are either moved and it squashed it, and basically it's caused a short. So, really, for me personally, this is a bit of a non-story because they're getting wrapped up in all the excitement about the Samsung battery issue with the Note 7, and they're trying to link the two together as a typical Mail, this typical Daily Mail, really. But anyway, there we are. The Daily Mail, for those of you who are not listening here in the UK, is...
Daily Fail, Matt. Daily Fail.
The Daily Fail. Yes, I like it. Yes, very good. Absolutely, yes, as Jonathan says.
Is this, I take it this is a kind of thing that's been going on quite a bit over your side as well, Jen, with all the phones and the batteries and stuff.
Yeah, I know that at the airport, at the gates, the gate agents are now making announcements that you're not allowed to take, or you're allowed to take them on, but you're not allowed to turn on or charge whichever phone it is currently that's having the issues. So yeah, I mean, it's a concern. You don't want fire while you're flying.
No, you don't.
It's
definitely
just
not.
Fire bad.
Do you not find it funny though, Matt, that this only just started in the last kind of month or two? All this battery exploding issues.
To be fair, no, I mean the problem has been there for a while. I mean, for example,
it's only just started to hit the news in the last.
No, it hasn't. I mean, if you go back, about sort of 4 or 5 months, you may recall, might even be as far back as a year ago, an EE released a lithium sort of battery pack that was free. They gave it to all of their. It was free to all EE customers that enabled you to charge your phone up on the fly, and that had a similar battery issue where they were catching fire or they were smoking when they were either in use or being charged. I think it's more an issue with a faulty batch of batteries that, as I think it was Micah that was saying last week, you have several manufacturers who will make batteries for a specific phone, and it's only certain models of the Note 7 that have been affected by this issue. So, you know,
Right.
Mash has just put in the chat room, actually, she said that she's more concerned the tablet that was left by a previous passenger was not found when they obviously turned the aircraft round.
Yeah, no, that is a good point.
Yeah.
That is a good point.
Because they obviously do a sweep of the aircraft.
Well, it
before
could have
the
been
flight.
anything in that tablet. I mean, you know, it would. There's no guarantee that it made it through the appropriate security checks, because, you know, I mean, everybody makes mistakes.
Oh, just on a side note, Micah's just off to go and get his washing out of the washing machine.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
And out of the dryer.
I can function.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, everybody stop. We can't continue.
Well, this is it.
Oh, wait now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we'll just put episode 132 on hold for a brief moment.
Just for Micah.
Yeah, absolutely. Micah, turn it up. You can still hear it in the laundry room. Turn it up.
We'll play some music while Micah's off to the dryer.
Oh, are we? Oh, okay.
Corny lift music. or
Yes,
something.
absolutely. Well,
Music.
our Patreon music will do a sterling job of that, no doubt.
No, we know we've got to play that.
Oh,
no.
right. We just got a drum roll.
So next story,
Yes, okay.
and funnily enough, is another Jet 2 story for you, man.
Is it? Right. So we just replaced one low-cost airline for another, have we? Okay, so this is the Travel Mall website again, and the headline is Jet 2 to fly to 21 donations from Stansted.
Donations.
Stop it. So we said from as we covered very briefly in the previous story that Jet 2 are flying lots of new destinations out of Stansted, 21 of them now to be precise, and the story reads Jet 2 has confirmed that it plans to fly 20 to 21 21 destinations. Look, I'm very tired. Be nice, everyone. From Stansted, its 9th UK base. Flights are available to book from today. Destinations include Lanzarote, Malaga, Alicante, Dubrovnik, Faro, and Ibiza. The company has expanded its trade sales team with the appointment of a sales executive dedicated to Stansted alone. Trade bookings account for a third of its business. It said flights from Stansted will operate on 6 Jet2.com and Jet2 Holidays new Boeing 737s delivered last week. Flights will start on March the 30th, 2017 to Alicante, Faro, Mallorca and Lanzarote. More than 250 new jobs will be created, said Jet2.
Good.
That is good news. So Head of Trade Alan Cross described the move as a real milestone for Jet2 Holidays, adding it marks the day we bring our family-friendly formula to travel agency partners in the south of England. Now, there is a list here of a full schedule, so I'll whiz through those as best as I can. Apologies if I pronounce any of the names incorrectly. So below is a full schedule. So it's Alicante will be a daily flight, Crete 3 times a week, Dubrovnik 3 times a week, Faro is daily, Fuerteventura is twice weekly, Girona or Costa Brava basically twice weekly, Gran Canaria, that will be 3 times a week, Ibiza will be daily, Kos will be twice weekly, Lanzarote will be 4 times a week, Larnaca will be, Larnaca, whatever, 3 times a week. Madeira will be twice weekly. Mallorca daily. Malaga 0 daily. I don't know what that means. I think they mean daily. Menorca 3 times a week. Paphos twice weekly. Pula twice a week. Reese 4 times weekly. Rhodes 3 times a week. Tenerife 6 times a week, and Zante, which I think is Greece, isn't it, Zante?
Yeah, Zante's Greece. Yeah,
is twice weekly, so quite.
So basically, these are all very, very popular holiday destinations for people here in the UK, for sure.
Agreed, yeah.
Have you had a chance to come across to the UK or anywhere in Europe, Jen?
Many years ago, I
So just
spent
to be
a month in.
Just to be
France.
clear, ladies and gentlemen, that was a long time ago. Sorry.
Yeah, when I was, I guess it was a long time ago. I got to spend a month in France. So I spent, I think maybe we spent 4 days in Paris, and then the rest of the time in the south of France. I've not been to England or Scotland or Wales. I would really love to go. So hopefully someday soon.
Well, look, as soon as you get yourself over here, let us know immediately. We'll come and meet up with you and show you the sights. I promise. Yeah.
We'll spoil you with English tea and biscuits.
That would be awesome.
Oh yes,
I would love that.
Yes, nobody makes tea like us Brits. I tell you, it's just a totally terrible experience. If you have it anywhere. Well, quite right. Yes, indeed. Anyway, on to the next story.
Next story is this is for Jen. This one.
This is for Jen.
Yes, I do believe that's mine. Now, it looks like it is on the Get Bucks website.
Yep.
Indeed, yes.
Get Bucks?
Carlos finds. Nobody really knows, to be honest with you, Jennifer. Carlos finds stories
Carlos
from.
could find.
Yes, absolutely. He finds stories from some of the most random of locations.
For reading this?
Let's hope so. Let's all hope so. We could do some more coffers in our coffee fund. So yes. Absolutely. Anyway,
okay.
Yes, far away.
Since it's for you guys.
You're lovely.
Norwegian Airlines Roald Dahl, is that how to pronounce his name?
Roald Dahl.
Yeah. Roald Dahl, yeah.
Yep, very good.
Tribute plane set to make its maiden flight.
Oh, cool.
The Boeing 737-800 has a tribute to the world's greatest storyteller on its tail fin. And it's quite a nice... an impressive looking tail fin. Indeed.
I've just popped it up. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll find it on in our feed at the moment. If not, it's go to the getbucks.co.uk website and look for Ron. If you search for Ron Dahl, you'll find the picture.
Exactly. So it says Great Missenden's Roald Dahl has become Norwegian's first British tailfin hero, and his Boeing 737-800 will begin flying this weekend. I didn't see the date on this article, so I don't know if that's already happened or if it's happening this upcoming weekend. Dahl was a pilot in the RAF during the Second World War before becoming a writer, and his first work, Gremlins, was based on his time flying. He suffered a plane crash in the Libyan desert in 1940, but recovered quickly and went back to flying. He later served in diplomatic roles in America before returning to England, settling first in Old Amersham and later at Gypsy House in Great Missenden. And then it goes on to say that Norwegian has more than 80 tailfin heroes, but Dahl, who is of Norwegian ancestry, is the first British icon to grace its planes. The move was made partly to commemorate Dahl's 100th birthday, which was earlier this month, but also to acknowledge Norwegian's growth in the UK, where it now flies over 4 million passengers a year to more than 40 destinations. The airline chose Roald Dahl because it believes he symbolizes the spirit Norwegian by pushing boundaries, challenging the norm, and inspiring others. And I have to say, he is one of my favorite authors. And I think my favorite book by him was Danny, Champion of the World.
Yes, cracking story. Yes, I must admit, I'm a bit of a sucker for the old Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Actually, I've got a bit of a soft spot for that, and of course it's very sad because we lost Gene Wilder very recently, didn't we? And I was a big fan of it. I must admit I had no time for the remake with Johnny Depp. It was a bit too creepy for me, but yeah, absolutely. Now there's a bit of a confusion here because it says Saturday the 29th.
Yeah,
of course,
I did see that.
But but I think they
tomorrow.
mean. I think that I think they mean
tomorrow.
I think they mean
they got the dates wrong.
Yeah, I think they got the dates wrong. But no, it was the story itself was released yesterday, so I think they mean this weekend coming.
Norwegian, the aircraft, the 737-800s, they have the tail fin logo stuff and that. There's a lot of those flying. I mean, they come over here quite a bit, frequently over the East Anglia, the east side of the UK where we live here. But they're just looking at their fleet list. Norwegian have actually got 102 737-8s, 800s in their fleet. So it's quite a few, but they have got some Airbus 320 Neos and 321 LRs on order. And they've obviously also, the Norwegian have got a long-haul fleet, as you might know, Jen. They've got 787-8s, and they've also got 3-9s as well in service of the Dreamliner. Because I think they've started, Norwegian are doing flights over to JFK, Jen, from the UK.
I think I remember reading that. Sadly, they don't fly into my little airport, so I won't get to see their magnificent tail fins. Bummer.
That is a shame.
And just on a side
Yeah.
note, we're running a listener
We are.
favourite livery.
We are
So
indeed.
yeah, perhaps
That's right.
that might come up as someone's favourite.
You never know. Yeah, Norwegian
logo.
may well feature
Yeah.
in that poll. Actually, we've had while we're talking about that, we've had some fantastic feedback from people
We
already.
have, yeah.
So please do keep coming. Do keep sending it all in. Podcast at plaintalkinguk.com is the email address. Podcast at plaintalkinguk.com, or you can ping us a message via Twitter. We don't mind. We'll collate the list basically, and we'll do a top 10 like we did last week for our favourite airlines.
So Jonathan, the next story is all for you.
Yes. Let's get it up. Why do airlines still offer in-flight duty-free?
I don't know.
This is on the stuff.co.nz.
Right, okay. You really have been trawling
Another
some
random
random.
one.
I was going to say he's been really trawling the random locations this week, haven't you, Carlos? Honestly, just because you're on lates this week. Oh, you get so grumpy when you're on late. He's unbearable, listeners. When he's on lates,
So why do airlines still offer in-flight duty-free then, John?
It says, does anyone ever actually buy those perfumes, liquor, and watches? Profits of $4 billion says yes, they do. The duty-free cart rumbles down the aisle of your international flight, packed with perfumes, liquor, watches, adapters, and other travel must-haves. The cabin crew manning the cart look hopefully left and right, and if it's anything like typical flight, the cart gets to the end of the cabin without making a single sale.
Well, yes, indeed.
Why do airlines continue with in-flight duty-free sales? There are plenty of opportunities for duty-free shopping at the airline terminals, usually with more choice. Full stop. The duty-free carts require a capital investment. They add weight, and airlines are constantly looking at ways to fly slimmer. I'm being attacked by a cat now.
Oh no! Uh-oh. What, that cute cuddly thing you were showing us earlier?
Yes, that cute cuddly thing
That
keeps
thing
thinking my leg is a scratching post,
Oh.
and then climbs up on me and keeps trying to chew my wires.
Oh no, we don't want that. Yeah, we don't want to electrocute the cat. We don't want to electrocute the cat live on YouTube. That's not the kind of viewing figures we go for.
Yeah, you might get a different audience for that.
Well, indeed. Yes. Anyway.
Right, so why do airline duty-free sales even exist? The short answer is that some airlines, at least, in-flight duty-free sales are big money spinners. In 2015, Guest Logics, which at the time was processing onboard duty-free sales, put the annual figure on for onboard duty-free sales in excess of US $3 billion. Get off.
Yes. Yes.
According to Guest Logic, skincare products, makeup, and perfumes were the most popular items, followed by jewellery, watches, alcohol, and cigarettes. Some airlines were said to be turning over between 100 and 200 million every year just in in-flight duty-free sales. But it's a mixed picture depending broadly on where the airline calls home. At one end of the scale is Korean Air, which has installed Sky Shops aboard its 10-strong fleet of A380s. Sky Shops are mini malls in the sky, walk-in boutiques stocked with cosmetics, perfumes, liquor, fashion goods, pearls, dietary supplements, chocolate, watches, electronics, and pens. Underlining the airline's dedication to the concept, the Sky Shop sacrifices 13 of the A380 seats. A bold move when most airlines are shaving centimetres off of every possible space to squeeze in another body. According to Guest Logic, Scandinavians are inclined to buy more duty-free items in flight than any other Europeans.
Oh, nice.
VAT in Norway, Denmark, and Sweden is on just about every item you might buy from onboard duty-free is a hefty 25%, 1% less in Finland. That's around 5% higher than most EU countries, and goes some way towards explaining their greater enthusiasm. Asian and Middle Eastern countries also report a more animated audience for onboard duty-free.
So basically what we're saying here is that the airlines are going to carry on doing duty-free services.
Yeah, it's questioning it, then explaining how much is spent.
Yeah, I'm surprised because I know like Ryanair quite often they'll sort of wander through and sort of offer duty free to.
But
to
yeah,
you.
but I've
And I
all
never
the
really
flights
understood
I've
that.
taken, I've never seen hardly anyone buy anything.
I have to confess,
I saw the same last year when I was on EasyJet. The trolley walks up with overpriced perfume and it's like, no, I'm okay.
No,
I'll wait till I get there if I want to buy perfume.
Yeah, well, this is it. But I mean, surely if you're going to buy that sort of thing, you'll tend to oh dear,
Being attacked.
You are being
Mauled.
literally mauled by a small cat. But
It's not a big thing though. I don't think anymore. Duty free back.
I think it is still in the terminal.
In the terminal,
I think,
yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
as I say, I'm amazed they're wasting, you know, valuable. You know, as Jonathan was saying in the story, you could put another bum on a
Weight,
seat.
yeah,
You know,
all the
with
weight
all
and
this
stuff.
kind of
13 seats on that A380.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, yes, that's true. Yeah,
That's a lot of seats off.
It is,
Especially if they're 14 grand a seat. Like
well, yes, indeed. Yeah, absolutely, all that money. It's just a very bizarre sort of. I just,
Is that something you're particularly bothered with, Jen? If you're flying, you know, are you
a fan of little
duty free?
I haven't flown commercially in so long, and
Really?
I haven't flown overseas in so long. I don't think I've been given the opportunity to buy duty free in ages. So
Well, even working at the airport.
The airports are so big and like massive shopping malls that you go in there, spend all your money on duty free in there. By the time you're on the plane, you look at a half-warm panini, you think, I've spent a bit much already. I'll wait
Yes,
till I get
I'm
there.
all
He's
right,
been watching the show too much. Yes. He knows we love the
So-
paninis.
We do
You
love a
sort
panini.
of put off by overpriced duty free that's still more expensive than in a normal shop.
what's the advantage supposed to be?
It's supposed to be
supposed to be
cheaper.
cheaper, isn't it?
Is it tax free?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, tax-free.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would
Tax
argue
free,
that.
but a higher standard price.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense really because, you know, ever since we joined the EU, you know, since we've been sort of, you know, participating in the European Union, obviously that's about to change, but really, we haven't really. You know, you're moving from one European country to another, so presumably you still had, you know, you weren't. It was only if you were flying internationally that you got what I call proper duty-free prices. Having said that, alcohol in the terminal, if you're buying duty-free alcohol-wise, is usually quite a lot cheaper if you're buying what they call like the export gin, as an example, and that's usually. More, it's one of those, isn't it? I think it depends on what you buy as to whether it's going to be cheaper. You look like you've got something in the chat room there that's amused you, Carlos.
I'm just looking at the chat room. I saw.
Yeah.
I can remember the days when you'd fly. You know, even with the short haul kind of flights around Europe, and you know, duty free was a huge thing. Everyone was, you know, nearly every seat row would buy something, whether it be perfume, cigarettes, alcohol, you know, and stuff like that. And there'd always be someone buying. But all the flights that I've taken the last, I don't know, 5-6 years, and the duty free cart comes up the aisle, is very rare you do see someone buy anything
These days. Yeah.
you know, gifts and stuff. They obviously have gifts and stuff. The only thing that I've ever seen people actually buy, funnily enough, are probably aircraft or airplane geeks like myself, and they'll buy the you know, the models, which they sometimes sell.
That's all I've ever
and
bought.
stuff.
I bought an A321 on a Monarch flight once, and that was it.
Oh, really?
That's the only thing I've ever bought on a flight, except a bottle of water.
Well, yes, yeah. We've all done that.
And you paid the price for that one.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the next story, and more sad news about the 747, the Queen of the Skies. This one on the centreforaviation.com site, the Kappa site, and the headline: 747-400 fleet dwindles to 204 as Cathay Pacific, the latest airline to retire the Queen of the Skies. So the 747 has been in the spotlight since August 2016, passing of lead engineer Joe Sutter. The iconic aircraft's milestone and fade from service came into focus again with the impending retirement of Cathay Pacific's passenger 747 fleet. A Cathay Pacific 747-400 was the final commercial flight to depart from Hong Kong's old airport at Kai Tak, while another Cathay 747 was the first commercial flight to land at the new airport at Chek Lap Kok. That flight was also the first to use a polar routing, one which has changed the Asia-North American market for all airlines. After the 1st of October 2016 return to Hong Kong of Cathay's final passenger 747 flight, CX543 from Tokyo Haneda, Cathay's last 3 passenger 747s will be decommissioned from normal service. The global fleet of passenger Combi 747-400s will then decrease to 204, according to CAPA's fleet database. The 747-400s in regular non-charter service will number 175. 6 airlines, British Airways, United, KLM, Lufthansa, Qantas and Thai Airways operate 10 or more 747s, accounting for 65% of what is left of the regular in-fleet service around the world. United will retire their 747 fleet by 2018, while British Airways and Qantas, which operates the slightly newer 747-400ER, look likely to do or be some of the last 747s, the non-8 operators, with service stretching into 2020. That's a shame, really, that the airlines, obviously they are an old aircraft, and as they've said in many of the other podcasts, these aircraft have got 4 engines as opposed to 2. Wide-bodied twin engine. You've got 4 engines burning all that fuel, and you look at the new 777X that will be coming out soon. That's going to hold nearly as many people, I think, as the 400. But I'm glad. Very glad indeed that I did obviously get the chance to fly for the first time on a 747-400 with Virgin in February this year, and I'm glad I've done that now, because it's looking like there won't be that many left in a few more years. Is it dying? That's it. Yeah, Jonathan.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's very sad, really. But again, it's one of those, isn't it? You've got to update. You've got to update the technology.
It's fuel,
fuel
it's,
and all that kind of thing. I think things have to change, don't
looking
they?
After 2 engines is obviously cheaper than looking after 4. It's a shame, but Micah's just put in the chat room. It's the loading that makes them so great for cargo, as no other aircraft has a front load like the 747.
Yeah, that is true.
Very true.
That is true. Yeah,
that is true. We have a cargo airport, and we have a number of 747s that fly in there.
They are, mate. I think they'll still go on for quite a long time with the cargo usage, because obviously there's a lot of the big cargo. I know Atlas use the 747-400, and I think UPS as well over in the States. I'm sure that UPS use the 747-400 as well.
That's favourite.
Yeah, my favourite currently, yes, absolutely. But we won't talk about that, because obviously this is the show, and it's to be fair to said company, the device that I was waiting for did arrive in the UK surprisingly quickly from its original origin. So
just failed to get here.
It just it was once it arrived in Norwich, it became a problem. But anyway, there we are.
So next story is for you, Matt.
Okay, yes. The next story is on The Guardian, which is apparently, if rumours are to be believed, a quality newspaper. And the headline, and I agree with this headline quite strongly, actually, because as some of you know, obviously my mum has some minor mobility issues. And it says, UK airport passengers face a 1 kilometre walk from check-in to departure. Or damn sight longer if it's Luton. But anyway, ABTA warns that long distances may prevent travellers who have difficulty walking from catching their flight on time. Passengers at UK airports have to walk up to 1 kilometre from check-in desks to reach departure gates, research shows. Travel organisation ABTA warned that many travellers who have difficulty in walking only request assistance once they arrive at the airport, which may be too late. This can lead to them having to make their own way across the terminals on foot or miss their flight. The maximum distances for check-in or special assistance desks to departure gates, according to ABTA, include 1,165 metres at Stansted Airport, 900 metres at Luton Airport, 822 metres at Manchester Airport, 750 metres at Glasgow Airport, and 530 metres at Birmingham Airport. ABTA's Director of Destinations and Sustainability, Nikki White, said the travel industry is committed to making holidays and other travel arrangements accessible for everyone. For most, travelling through airports is a fairly straightforward process, but for those who may find walking longer distances harder to manage, larger airports can present a real challenge. We would encourage anyone who may need assistance to inform their tour operator or airliner no later than 48 hours before they travel, so that their journey through the airport will be as comfortable as possible and they will be able to board their flight with with plenty of time to spare. Now, some of you who may watched our earlier shows, actually, we covered this in great length, didn't we, when I took Mum, I can't remember where we flew to now, but we were flying out of Luton. And the first time we went to Luton, we had exactly this problem, that Mum really struggled to get to the departure gate. And we almost sort of missed our flight because it was just such a long walk. And, Mum can only walk a few yards before she needs to rest because, her hips are playing her up, etc.
Stansted the same. For
And
Ryanair.
domestic or international as well, it's the same. But having reported when we went last time, I thought, right, well, because it was like, because Mum doesn't really need a wheelchair for day to day. It was only just going from this one part. So I thought, well, I'll phone the airline and sort of see what's available. Well, I can't. I mean, we flew with EasyJet, and the service that we received from Luton Airport was nothing short of outstanding. It was just incredible, the fact that they sort of, so not only did they have a wheelchair, but we were pushed straight through security. We didn't have to queue. We didn't have to do any of these things. They loaded us on the aircraft first, so we were able to get everything all up in the lockers and everything, all like really quickly. So if you do have a similar problem, anyone who's listening to this who does have any kind of mobility issue, I cannot recommend strongly enough. Give your airline as much notice as you can. Give them a ring as soon as you've booked your tickets, even, to arrange something that they call here in the UK special assistance. Because I promise you, if you've got mobility issues, you will not regret it. It is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, well, just going back to that.
Have you been leaning on your tablet again?
No, just pressing that. No, Stansted is the same. If you fly from London to Stansted Airport, I did just mention in the chat room there, when we're flying with Ryanair from there, the Ryanair gates are quite a substantial walk from the actual departure lounge area. And you generally do tend to see a lot of those buggies, the beep buggies that you see with people, on. Yeah, but I saw a similar story to this online earlier this week, Jen, about a lot of the airports over in the States and that having, obviously massive airports. Glenn Towler has just put in there as well that LAX has always been pretty awful for walks to gates and stuff. I'm guessing about the airport where you are based, Jen.
To me, it doesn't seem too excessively long as far as distance. We're not a huge airport. We're sort of, I call it medium sized. We do have assistance, I know, for people who need it.
Okay. I think we're having a few problems with.
I think.
Okay, I think so. If you can still hear me, Jennifer, we're having a few problems with your
line.
Ahead,
but you need help.
Oh, hello. Yes, all right. I think.
I hear that we're cutting out.
Yes, have you? Hello. Are you there? There we are.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sorry. As I say, I think the storm has finally caught up with you by the sound of it. But
perhaps a little bit. It is pretty ugly out there.
Yeah, I bet.
But anyway, so yes, I was saying that we do offer assistance, and it's best to call ahead, but we do offer it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because it is one of those, if you've just booked your flight, then you need to contact the airline and do it directly. But also, Barbara is saying nowhere can be as bad as Dubai. It's like walking through hundreds of marble palaces.
I know what she's saying, Barbara. I totally agree with you there because we've flown through there a few times, and it is. I mean, there is a lot of walking involved, but the sights are awesome. Some of the sights in Dubai's airport are quite interesting, I will say.
I bet.
So moving on to the next story.
Yeah.
And this
Which I think is mine.
Yeah,
can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Fingers crossed, everyone. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, I will give this a try.
That's all right. I think the line has stabilised, so I think hopefully we'll be all right now.
Okay.
Okay. This is from the Flight Global website, and it says, drone blamed for Dubai airport closure.
Oh, no.
It's from, looks like the 28th of September, so just a couple of days ago. It says, Dubai International Airport's operator is blaming a drone intrusion for an hour-long interruption to services, including closure of its airspace for about 30 minutes. The airport, which is the base for Emirates, closed between 08:08 and 08:35 on 28 September. Dubai would typically record 30 departures in the morning during this time interval. The operator, Dubai Airports, attributes the closure to unauthorized drone activity and states that it caused a number of delays. While arrivals resumed at 8:35 and departures at 8:40, the operator says restrictions were not lifted until 9:07. And it states that safety is the company's top priority. So this puzzled me a little bit because it doesn't really say what kind of drone activity or where or who reported it.
I mean, Dubai is a huge
I don't know
airport.
what to make of that.
Yeah.
Dubai is such a huge airport. You know, it's a huge airport.
Right.
For someone to have a drone or anything flying and do some flying around there, I mean.
Yeah. It's a big zone area that they shouldn't be flying in, essentially. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously to have the amount of money there is in Dubai, to have a DJI Phantom was probably it's easy for them, whereas for us it costs a lot of money here in the UK.
Yeah, this is
you
true.
would think. Yeah.
But no, I mean, we normally run a story every now and again, Jen, about drones interfering with aircraft, around the UK. We've got lots of incidents alongside the laser pointing incidents as well. We normally report on here in the UK. I think it's
Miriana is suggesting that we should just blast them out of the air.
Yeah, someone did actually. There was a story I remember listening to on the Airplane Geek show. One of their last episodes, and there was someone who blasted a drone out of the sky, or a UAV with a shotgun.
Yeah, this is it.
Shotguns at the end of all airports.
Yeah.
Go down too well.
Yeah, I mean, what could go wrong there? I mean, nothing could go wrong there.
Was it the Dutch airline that was employing like big eagles to catch?
Yes,
like that,
I think it was.
Pull them out of the air, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, training
I saw
them
a video on that. That looked impressive.
Yeah, I think all
does.
airports should have that. That's the way forward.
That's quite good.
Yeah,
I like
definitely.
I volunteer to do that.
Yeah, oh,
Well,
absolutely.
then the
I'll
bird
take
is
that
then
on.
also another piece of FOD in the air.
Yeah, zoink,
Yeah.
mine. Absolutely.
There we go.
Well, you didn't get hit by the drone, but you did suck our eagle up into your engine.
Right,
I'm sorry.
yes. Okay, all right, there
You
could be a
didn't hit
problem
the
there.
drone, just a bird strike.
Yeah, bird strike, yeah.
Poor
So,
bird.
yeah, 4 aircraft were ruined
Our
as a
bad.
result, but nevertheless, yes, absolutely.
That's somewhere else we can take Jennifer to in the UK when she comes across it. We can take her to a bird of prey sanctuary.
That's true. Oh,
that
Masha
would
was
be
saying it was the
fun.
Dutch police.
The Dutch police.
Masha was saying it was the Dutch police that were
Oh, the
using
Dutch
the drones.
police,
Yeah,
okay.
they were using the eagles to pull out the drones from the.
It's good. It's a
from
good
the
idea.
Yeah. This is why I love the chat. You see, people
know.
correct us. I love it here before we've finished.
So-
Real time correcting.
I
This-
know.
and this
That's
is the way
That's why
forward,
we
yeah.
love the chat room.
We do very much so. Yes, I'm sorry if anybody of you are watching on Facebook. I can't get into the Facebook chat for
Oh,
some
can't you?
reason here, so apologies
okay.
if you are listening
I'll
on
have a look in there.
Facebook. But I can't get in there for some reason.
So the last story in the commercial news segment is all for you, Jonathan. On this was
Me.
yeah.
It is on the local.de website. That's a German website.
Good. Yes, it's not very local to
Another
us
very
then.
random website.
Yes, he doesn't get out much, does Carlos?
Right, Air Berlin to cut 1,200 jobs and half its airline fleet.
Oh no.
Struggling Air Berlin, Germany's second largest airline, announced on Wednesday a major restructuring plan that shrinks its fleet and cuts 1,200 jobs. In a statement, the loss-making company said it planned to concentrate its core operations and dedicated focused network carrier serving higher yielding markets from its two key hubs in Berlin and Dusseldorf. Air Berlin said it would provide up to 40 Airbus A320 to rival Lufthansa, the leading German carrier, and it would operate up to 38 planes under a 6-year agreement beginning 2017. Fewer staff will be required, with up to 1,200 positions becoming redundant, Air Berlin said. Air Berlin said it would operate a core fleet of 75 aircraft from Berlin and Dusseldorf beginning in mid-2017. The carrier had a fleet of 144 planes in June. Air Berlin also announced it would separate its touristic business into independently operating business unit as a strategic option, as strategic options are evaluated. Lufthansa separately announced the same 40 aircraft deal, saying it will allow its budget airline Eurowings to significantly expand its capacities and strengthen its position in the European point-to-point air transport market. The final agreement is expected to be concluded on the fourth quarter of this year. The Lufthansa added and is subject to the company's supervisory boards and competition authorities. Air Berlin Chief Exec Stefan Pichler said restructuring plan was necessary due to significant external market pressures which dictate change to our current complicated business model. We have to make reductions, but we will aim to do so in a supportive manner, offering new opportunities to employees where possible, he added in a statement.
Be a shame if we lost Air Berlin, actually, because they're quite a large airline over in Germany.
Yeah.
They're kind of an EasyJet over in Germany.
It's a similar sort of equivalent type
equivalent thing, yeah.
German EasyJet.
Yeah, and for them to cut that amount of jobs and half the airline fleet, I actually thought that Air Berlin were doing really well. How I read into it over the last kind of year. But they've got, I'll just look at their fleet list, actually, their current fleet. They've got a mix of Airbus, Boeing and Bombardier.
Right.
Or Bombardier.
Bombardier!
They've got...
Bombardier!
Yeah, I know,
they've got quite a lot of Airbus in the fleet, 321s, 320, 319s, and they've also got 14 A330-200s.
Yeah, but it's not as good as Bombardier.
But they've also got... they've got 16 Boeing, a mix of 700 and 800s in there, and obviously the Bombardier -8 Q400s. But to cut all those...
Said last year the company suffered a record loss of €447 million.
Whoa. That's quite a lot.
That is quite a lot.
Yeah, you can see why they're shrinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're... I mean, it says on their website they'll be phasing out the 737-800s in 2016. They're phasing those out. But it is a shame if they kind of, obviously for people, for jobs and stuff like that. We've covered airlines hiring people in the last few weeks, and now this airline is obviously sadly going to cut their staff.
Well, but, I mean, hopefully it's not the end. Maybe it's just a little restructuring, as they call it in most industries, a little restructuring, and all their worries could go away. I mean, I can think of several companies who have done something similar, and they've come out the other end stronger. So
as long as people keep their jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little bit of restructuring, and
you'd like to think that a lot of the air crews would follow the aircraft to Lufthansa, maybe.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that brings the commercial news segment to a close for this week. So what have we got coming up now, then, Matt?
Right, well, we're going to do a little bit of listener feedback. So we've got a couple of listener feedbacks to play out to you now. We're going to start with Fabien, and then after that we've got some video feedback from Mila. So we're going to run those for you back to back right now.
Hi Carlos, hi Matt, hi Pip, hi Pilot, and everyone listening. It's ATPL student Fabien from Germany. For reference, I was at the Schiphol meetup which Masha organized. I really enjoyed your podcast. Episode 131 was my first time in a live chat. I heard Pip talk about gliding and thought I would add something about bungee launches. Some members of my glider club and I went to a famous German gliding airfield a few weeks back. There's a club located named Oldtimer Glider Club Wasserkuppe. They operate SG-38, a glider that was designed just before the Second World War and used to teach cadet pilots the principles of flight. The airfield is located on top of a small mountain. We went there especially to do bungee launches in the SG-38. I will attach a picture of it so you can see what it looks like. You sit on a piece of wood with a stick and a rudder with the stick and rudder pedals in front of you. There's no cockpit and no kind of instrumentation. At the rear of the glider, below the rudder, are two ropes. The so-called holding team is placed here during the launch. The holding team is made up of 4 to 5 people. The glider will be placed at the top of a hill in a takeoff position. The flight instructor talks to you and explains you a few things. Then he attaches a bungee in the front. The bungee extends in a V shape from the aircraft. At the end of both ends of the V shape is a rope connected to the bungee. Here you find the pulling team. The pulling team on each side is made up of at least 5 people, but the more, the better. The flight instructor holds the wings level, asks the holding team if they are ready. When they answer yes, he will ask the pulling team. If they confirm, the flight instructor will give the command to the pulling team to start stretching the bungee. The pulling team will start walk downhill, and while the holding team holds the aircraft from moving. Then the flight instructor gives the order to run. The pulling team will start run downhill. At one point, the flight instructor will shoot out, "Go." This is the moment the holding team let go of the ropes, while the pulling team keeps running downhill and tries not to fall over each other. You in the meanwhile are flitched into the air and now fly an aircraft with a glide ratio of 1:8. This means 1/8 meter of height will give you 8 meters in distance if you fly at the best glide ratio. You don't have a lot of time to fly. Do not over-control the glider and just flare it a little bit once you're landing. Your average flight time on a good day will be around 20 to 30 seconds. Since everyone else wants to fly, now it's your turn to be on the pulling team.
Hi everyone, it's Mila here. Carlos asked me to send in a little voice feedback, and so here I am, and I'm super excited about it. Let me start off with saying that I've been part of this community for nearly a year now, and I absolutely love it. You guys are great, you're awesome, you're so friendly, and we have so much fun together. I think it's great. And when Carlos asked me to do a little voice feedback, I told him I'd love to do it, but I have my exam coming up and I'd like to focus on that first, and if I pass, I'll send you a little voice feedback. Well, good news is I passed, so I'm really happy about that. And what this exam was that I did, it was the annual renewal of my license. Now, for you guys that don't really know how that works, I'm sure Pip's got a wonderful segment out there that covers everything about licenses and how they work. So you pass your exam and then you get a rating. And the ratings are written down on your license, like this. If you're on YouTube, you can see it. You have all your ratings and your exams written over there. But they have a valid until date, which means if you don't fly enough hours to keep them valid, you have to do another exam to make them valid for another year. And this Wednesday, I flew my multi-engine exam, and I passed. So that's awesome news, basically because when you want to join an airliner, they require you to have a valid multi-engine instrument rating, and that's the exam I did. So that's a little bit about how licenses work and what you have to do to renew them. And other than that, thanks for having me on the show. It's been great, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.
Oh, thank you. Very kind.
So it's so nice to have video feedback
I
for
know.
a change.
That's
Apologies
awesome.
to our guests because they couldn't hear that bit because it was a video. Basically, it meant that they can't hear that. So humble apologies.
So Fabien,
to our
thanks for
guests,
sending your feedback, and it ended abruptly. Whether that was, I think that whether your recording device cut you off there before the end. Yeah. But thank you for your feedback, Fabien, on the gliding. Always a good,
definitely.
Always good to hear.
Ties in nicely, obviously, because of Pip's
with
segment
Pip's
last
feedback.
week.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And obviously, we need to say a big round of applause and congratulations to Mila for. Yes, see, I told her she'd pass.
Yeah,
I told her. I said you'd pass.
Mila!
Yeah, I know. See, I know.
Yeah, indeed.
The all-knowing.
Yeah. The all-knowing oracle that is Carlos, everyone.
I know.
Brace yourself.
And obviously, Mila's actually in the chat room as well. So make sure that everyone is in the chat room. Make sure you all congratulate.
You do, yes,
Mila
absolutely.
for
They're doing it as I see. Look, it's all good. Yes,
very
well
good,
done,
very
everyone.
good. So,
Okay.
and we're going to hand things over to our resident military aviation expert, aren't we?
Absolutely,
He's got
yes.
a few stories of the military aviation persuasion to bring you. So we are going to hand over stuff. We're going to play the stinger first.
Play the stinger first.
Play the
Yes,
stinger
absolutely.
first.
Yes.
So if you're ready, Jonathan.
I think so.
Excellent. Okay,
Let's
let's
go.
go. So here we go then. We welcome the legend that is Jonathan. So what we're going to start with then, Jonathan?
I've got there's 3 small stories. They're
Cool.
not particularly big. I thought I'd just keep them quite short and sweet for the first time.
Yeah, cool.
The first one's actually a video story, and I didn't have the presence of mind to pass it on to cards. Actually, I did. It's on Facebook.
Okay,
But
all right. You
not-
do that, and I'll see if I
Probably
can
not
find it.
in reach right now.
Yeah, okay. So it's with as you read the story, then I'll see if I can find it.
Okay. It's on the Aviationist, and it is watch an epic, deafening US B-1B bomber head-on takeoff.
Oh wow.
I chose this because I was stood within 50 yards of this person videoing it. It says, the following clip was filmed a few weeks ago, it's actually a week ago, outside the perimeter fence at RAF Fairford in the UK, where 2 B-1 bombers belonging to the 7th Bomb Wing at Dyess Air Force Base, Texas, were deployed. The 2 Lancers, along with a single B-52, took part in exercise Ample Strike 2016, a yearly Czech Republic-led exercise with 300 participants from 18 countries. Says the video is not very good quality and a bit shaky, but gives you a rough idea of what an almost head-on takeoff with a B-1 looks like. The heat and exhaust flow blew me off. It says the exhaust blew me off my feet. Apparently developed a hydraulic fault on takeoff, so required more runway than usual for a safe lift off, hence why it was so low. Although actually that's not quite right. I know a bit more about that. But it basically on takeoff that day, it was the last day of the exercise and it was going back stateside. So I was actually in talks with the colonel who was flying some of the missions on the exercise. And he knew where some of us were going to be. And I said to him, was it for our benefit? And he said, no, it was just very heavy. So it needed with a 2-mile runway.
A 2-mile runway.
Right on the second. Yeah, 10,000 foot Fairford.
Wow. Well, a
And,
big old runway then.
Sort of it got about 3/4 down. The nose wheel lifted, and then it just sat on the main undercarriage for the rest of it. And then eventually just creeped over the fence right at the end of the runway where I was stood and just destroyed all of our ears. It was amazing.
I bet such an amazing sight. Yeah, absolutely.
It was incredible.
We've got a few gremlins in our system here at this end, so apologies, I'm not able to play the video out to you. But yeah, as I say, if you go to you said it's the Facebook page of the Aviationist. Did you say that?
It was actually I went on the Aviationist website, so it is. Let me see, theaviationist.com. It was one of their main featured stories. So, but I did actually get my own shots of it, and they're on my phone. So
yeah, okay.
if I put it up to the screen, you might have a vague idea of what it was like.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, look at that! What a beast!
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, no,
One that'll live long in the memory.
yeah, I bet it was. So I mean, I know from when we saw the Vulcan, I was lucky enough to see it at not only at Riyadh last year, but also at where was it? Where's the one that I keep going on about, where I sent you some feedback for the very first time?
Oh, that was Waddington.
Waddington,
Waddington,
that's it. Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. And I remember
Yeah.
seeing it there, and it's that noise, isn't it? There is no noise like it when you've got a really throaty engine that's sort of, full power, trying to get up. Or what? I mean, it is like nothing you'll ever experience, is it? It's
And the B1 makes a Vulcan sound like a Cessna.
oh, Oh dear.
What are you trying to say,
I
Jonathan?
think, top of my head, I think Vulcan's something like £20,000 thrust and engine.
Wow.
And they're not reheat. It's dry thrust. B1's, I think it's 31,500 on full reheat.
Right, now,
there's 4 of them.
Now, me, who's a little bit of a novice here, just explain to me what the difference is between the dry thrust and what was the other one you said?
Reheat is reheat produces a lot more power.
Right.
And uses a hell of a lot more fuel as well.
Okay. And what's the difference in the processes? So
taking all the runways.
So what's the difference between the two? What's the sort of difference between the two with regard
literally
to
just the power they produce? I mean, dry. I expect that the B1 on full dry power wouldn't be far off what a Vulcan would be on full power.
Right.
But with the reheat, it gives a lot of extra power for like takeoff rolls and quick getaways.
Very cool. Very cool.
There's
indeed.
not much that's louder than a B1 that I know of.
Wow.
Apart from a space shuttle.
The space shuttle, yeah. And you don't get to see many of those, let's be honest.
No, they're few and far between.
Yeah.
So what else have you got for us? What other pearls of wisdom have you got for us in this week, Jonathan?
The second one, I thought I'd leave a motor-based one till last for you, Carlos. Woohoo! The second one is U2 flights resume after the pilot killed in the crash. There's U2 Dragon Lady roared to life on the runway at Beale Air Force Base at 9:01 a.m. on Friday. I think this was Friday last week. And took flight into the skies above Yuba Sutter for the first time since the pilot was killed and another injured in the crash in the Sutter Buttes on Tuesday. And I think that was Tuesday last week as well. It doesn't say on here. So the time was 9:01, and it was chosen to honour Lieutenant Colonel Ira Stephen Shooter Edie. I've mauled that one. The pilot who died and was a representative of the 9th Reconnaissance Wing and the 1st Reconnaissance Squadron, the unit that Eddie was assigned to. Eddie and the co-pilot ejected from the Tu-2S two-seat training version of the U-2 before the plane hit the ground. Both pilot parachutes deployed. The other pilot has not been identified, and Beale officials have not released an update on his condition.
That's not good. It's always very worrying.
It says he's not suffering life-threatening injuries.
Oh well, that's something at least. Yeah, I always get a bit nervous when they don't release the status, if you like, of it always makes you a little bit nervous, thinking you can't help but sort of think the worst, really, can you? When they're not doing that, so that's a bit strange. But yeah, well, that's good.
As operations return to some semblance of normality, an investigation's underway at the crash site next to Pass Road in the Sutter Buttes. The Dragon Lady first flew more than 61 years ago, but the actual U2S model used today was built in the 80s and gone through several life extension programs. All airframes in the Air Force must meet stringent airworthiness standards in order to remain in service, Deputy Chief of Aviation Safety Randall Rushworth said. It says the U2 has had a comparatively safe record. It's only had one Class A mishap in the last 10 years. We don't have many opportunities to investigate this aircraft because it has a good safety record. We'll leave that one there. It just goes on about the local area.
I was just looking at the U2. It's one of those aircraft that not many people know a great deal about, the Lockheed U2. And it's a strange aircraft to see as well, I think, Jonathan, for this. I haven't actually seen one of these up close. Amazing. But it's, I don't know, it's kind of to put it in a sense, it's kind of it's a perfect cross near enough. If you look at the aircraft, it's got a very straight, narrow, slim body with a kind of, there we go, Matt's just popping up the image on the screen there.
As best he can, anyway.
As best he can.
Yeah.
It just looks, it's
not a perfect picture, but it gives you an idea of the shape and size, yeah.
Personally, I think. I mean, you've had the chance to see one of these up close, I expect, John.
Yeah, I saw one in Fairford about a month ago.
Wow. Yeah,
They're quite regular visitors. They go on exchange every 2 or 3 months. You get a couple go west and a couple go east for deep maintenance.
yeah. There's it sort of strikes you
And
as slightly
Micah's
unusual.
put in the chat room that they're very difficult to fly.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they got bicycle undercarriage.
Oh dear.
Yeah, more like a
They've
power.
only got 2
jet
wheels
powered
down the
glider.
centre line,
That's it. Yeah.
so they are like a giant glider.
Oh wow. Oh no. Oh dear.
When they land it, they let a wing drop. They got little titanium skids on the wing, so just let it drop to the side. And then the crews chase it down the runway, and they fix little trolley wheels onto the underside of the wing. And then when they launch them on their next mission, just as they get enough airspeed to hold the wings level, they shed the little trolley wheels off, and they bounce down the runway behind them.
Blimey.
It is quite impressive to watch them because the climb rate's unbelievable. They'll sort of take off, and I mean they use absolutely no runway at all.
Really.
And they'll sort of get power up, and because of the size of the wing and the power of it, it just sits on the tail and points skywards.
Wow. Okay.
So you've got a story then about a certain island in the Mediterranean that I like.
Yeah, I chose this. I thought you might like this one, although you might be a bit sort of green-eyed having not been there.
I was there last year.
Yeah, that's last year.
Yeah. Glaze over everyone.
Go on.
Yeah. Okay.
Says Ukrainian Air Force Su-27 flankers rock motor air show. Says 2 Ukrainian Air Force Su-27 flankers and 1 accompanying IL-76 have been amongst the highlights of the Malta Air Show this year. Says Malta hosted the traditional air show over last weekend, even though bad weather forced the organisation to cancel the display on the Sunday. The arrival of the participants as well as the Saturday show provided an opportunity to take some cool shots of the most interesting aircraft that have visited Malta for the event. Surely the most awaited guest of the year's edition of the Malta Air Show were the Su-27s. Indeed, Su-27 and an Su-27UB, the UB stands for 2-seat, supported by an IL-76 landed at the Maltese airport on September 22nd. It says the Ukrainian trio arrived in style, performing a low pass over the runway before coming to land. And it's a very low formation pass. I don't know if you've got the photos up.
Yeah, no, I'm just working on that now. Yes, it's also a very pretty aircraft,
Colour
isn't it?
scheme.
Yeah,
Colour
absolutely.
scheme is
Colour scheme is
awesome.
exceptional, isn't it?
The 2 colours on them is amazing.
Yeah, I'm just as I say,
Yeah,
just
on static a few years back, and it is very nice.
so yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, then as I say, I'm just going to pop the picture up for you now.
There we go.
It is an incredible the sort of
that
livery,
paint
isn't
scheme
it?
is
So-
awesome. I mean,
Yeah,
if we
very
were doing
strange.
if we were doing a top 10
Military
military
colour schemes, yeah.
colour schemes, obviously grey would be very popular.
Yes,
Along with grey and offshoots of
The
Military
grey.
grey.
Ukrainians have got it right with those flankers.
Yeah.
They
Well, to be fair, if you've got a nice blue sky, I mean, that will sort of blend in rather nicely when it'll just look like a cloud flying across.
As long as the underneath is the same as well. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you'd have to fly the aircraft
the
inverted all the
underneath's
time.
just pale blue.
Ah, so,
okay.
yeah, so as I say, if you get if it's flying against a blue backdrop, it really will almost disappear.
Hey, so, Jennifer, are you much of a military aviation fan yourself?
I quite enjoy seeing military airplanes. Do I know a lot about them? Am I an historian like Jonathan or David Vanderhoof? No, but I do enjoy them when I see them. My favorite military airplanes would be the C-5 Galaxy
All good.
and the F-18.
Ah.
The old model Galaxy though, with the old engines that scream at you.
The really loud ones. Yeah.
Yeah, the new ones have got sort of Airbus style quiet engines.
No. The ones that make your ears bleed.
Yeah, that's the one.
But isn't that what all military aviation aircraft do, though? Make it.
Well, I think that is their main job. Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I like military aviation more. I think.
Exactly.
I have fond memories of standing next to a Eurofighter Typhoon at Riyadh a few years back, and forgetting to put my ear defenders on, and just having no ear defenders at all, and my ears hurt. a lot after
I'll
that.
tell you what, when I was at Fairford last week with that B1, I had an instant headache. That's the only time I've ever experienced something like that. I was warned, have you got ear defenders? Like, ear defenders?
Who needs them?
Nah, I don't do ear defenders.
Health and safety? Huh?
Because I had a friend who was there the week before, had the same thing happen. And he said, yeah, you'll want them. No, I won't. And I did.
Actually, John, Tony S. in the chat room has put that they're getting 13 Gripens next week at Leeming.
Cool.
Ah.
That's in the chat room there.
I've got to admit, the Gripen doesn't do a lot for me. I find it... for a fighter, I find it slightly boring.
Oh. We'll start a whole new discussion.
Yeah, no, let's...
It's very sort of... I don't know, it's like a cheap fighter. It is.
What do you mean? It's made. The Gripen's made by Saab. That's not a cheap
I know, it's
fighter.
very nice, but then you look at Saab's legacy with the Draken and the Viggen and their massive, beefy, heavy-duty aircraft. I mean, the Viggen especially is really big, massive, great big engine on it, and it is. Then they brought the Gripen out. It's like the poor man's Eurofighter.
Oh no!
Do you know what, I was actually just looking on Google just then to see what the kind of the silhouette shape of the Gripen is, and it does look very much like a kind of Eurofighter
It's
take
like
off.
And how you buy a Eurofighter in, say, Tesco's, and then you'll go to Aldi to get a Gripen. It's like
God.
other supermarkets are available, obviously. But...
You're going to get us in trouble. You're going to get us in trouble with Micah. Micah's going to say something about that. Or something.
I'm glad I can't see the chat room. That's all I'm saying on that
can
one.
See it.
Oh god. Okay.
So we have talking about Micah.
Ah, the legend that is.
We have got
the main man.
The main man.
So we have
absolutely.
got a little bit of a kind of segment from Micah to play right now, and then we're going to have a little chat with Jennifer.
With the lovely Jennifer, yes, absolutely. So hold on the line there for just a little while longer. She's being so patient with us, bless her, isn't she? But
so get your questions ready if you've got any probing questions.
Your
for
opportunity
Jennifer.
to talk directly to the lovely Jennifer. Ask her any question you like. If you want to do a bit of research, then it's talesfromtheterminal.com is where you'll find her blog. But whilst we're all doing that, we're going to play you a nice little segment out from the legend that is, and I don't know why I've put Carlos's camera up, but there we are. Hello, hi, the legend that is the main man, Micah.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a secret about me. It's a nasty secret that generally doesn't go over well with people and has even ruined potential relationships in the past. It's an unacceptable thing that so many people can't understand and that I've been persecuted about my whole life. Some who know me well know about this inner darkness, but generally I keep it very quiet. Okay, are you ready? Do you want to know this dark, awful secret about your main man, Micah? Okay, I'll tell you. I don't really get on so well with children. No, don't get me wrong. It's not that I'm intolerant. Well, okay, I lied. Depending on their age and behavior, I'm intolerant. But given my druthers, generally I stay away from children. Strange, I know, but stranger still. With all the amazing, wonderful times I had during Farnborough 2016, 3 of them involved children. And no, I'm not talking about eating ice cream for breakfast with Captain Al. The first was Friday evening when Stuart and Nina told me about their child and how he likes listening to the airline pilot guy. Well, who doesn't? Obviously, Nina and Stuart are parents of a remarkable child, an up-and-coming genius. The second great experience involving a child during the Farnborough trip was after the big podcast on Saturday night. That's when little Michaela, along with her mother and father, came up to the table we were broadcasting from and reminded me that I had promised her a paper airplane. Now, being that I have such limited experience with children, I have no idea how old she was. She could have been anywhere from 2 to 7. They all looked the same to me. I can say, though, that Michaela was very sweet and quite happy to have a paper airplane made especially for her. And to tell you the truth, I was happy to make it for her. But the most special time I had involving children while at Farnborough was at the air show itself. Early in the day on Saturday, before the big podcast that evening, I had the opportunity to meet Pilot Pip's terrific children, Isaac and Hazel. They were at the Media Center, where I was privileged to be able to sit down with them both and teach them how to make my special flying wing paper airplane. It brought back memories of my father and grandfather teaching me how to make that same model of paper airplane so many, many years ago. frankly, thinking about it brings pleasant tears to my eyes. But anyway, thinking back on that great time with Pip and his beautiful wife and wonderful children reminded me of this story that took place in September of 2013. It was originally aired on the Airplane Geeks podcast, episode 267. So thanks for bringing your kids along to the air show, Pilot Pip. This story is for you. 15:30 at 2 o'clock. Portland, Maine, 15:30 hours. It's one of the last summer afternoons of 2013, and a perfect day. Clear blue sky, 70 degrees in the USA, 21 degrees in the rest of the world. A glorious day. I'm driving past PWM on my way to an appointment in downtown Portland. The beginning of runway 18 is at my 2 o'clock, about 2 miles distant. Now, as an airplane geek, my eyes are always to the sky, no matter where I am, and all of a sudden I see a quick flash of a plane through tree branches. My keenly tuned airplane geek brain automatically analyzes what I see on final to 18. Sleek silver, single engine, low, almost square-ended wings at about 500 feet. It wasn't in my field of vision for more than 2 seconds when it disappeared below the tree line. And when my geek brain told me what I saw, I'm confident I'm just daydreaming. No, couldn't be that. Then a millisecond later, and only for another instant, this time almost head-on, through a small gap in the trees, I saw it again. Damn, this is no daydream. That's a P-51 Mustang. Oh, right, I remember the Collings Foundation was at Portland Westbrook Municipal today, and here I am on my way to an appointment. Oh well, that's how life goes sometimes. I'd seen the Collings Foundation aircraft before and had toured the B-17 and B-24 some years back. I went by myself then, and while I enjoyed it, it's not the same as sharing the experience with a friend. Not necessarily another airplane geek, but someone who can enjoy, or at least accept, my geekiness. Well, I have an appointment, so I'm going to miss it this time, I think to myself. Then the phone rings. Hello, Micah? Sorry, have to cancel. An emergency. Can we reschedule? Well, okay then. Now I have some free time. What to do? Well, I could go to the airport and visit the planes, but as I'd said, I'd done that a few years ago. I put my airplane geek mind to work and thought of the PWM Airplane Geek parking area on the south side of the airport. Although the lot is set up to look north perpendicular to the terminal and runways 11/29, I'd be able to get a parallel, head-on view of 18/36. The Collings Foundation was using the FBO at the north end of the field on runway 18. Not bad. I get to the plane spotting lot, and there's only one other vehicle there, the tractor part of an 18-wheeler. That's a lorry for those of you in the UK. I park my car and roll down the windows when I hear it. It's that Rolls-Royce Merlin. Then I see it. Yes, it is. A P-51 Mustang, gear down, still in ground effect on 18. It was beautiful. The silver fuselage and wings gleamed in the afternoon sun. Wow. Now, I always have my airband scanner and binoculars with me in the car. By the time I got them out of the bag in the back seat, the Mustang had already made a 180 and was heading north, but I knew it would be back in about a half hour. I set myself up in the car, the scanner set to monitor the tower on primary, ground on secondary, binoculars on my lap. I sit back and wait. A couple of other cars pull in near me. One of them has a father and son in it. The boy must be 8 or 9 years old, and I hear the father say, "Yeah, the Mustang should be back soon." Nice. Father and son watching airplanes together. It makes me think about my dad and how he would have enjoyed this. A few Skyhawks were shooting touch and goes on 18. This gave me some practice for the big event when the P-51 returns. A Delta CRJ-200 lands on 11, followed closely by a United Q-400. The Q-400 turned off 11 to taxiway Alpha and was told to hold short of 18. I could overhear the boy ask his father, "Why is that airplane stopped there?" The man said he didn't know, so I called over to him. I hold up the scanner and said, "I'm monitoring the tower. There'll be a small plane taking off from the cross runway. The United plane was told to hold until the runway is clear." The man thanked me for the information, and I told him that when I heard the Mustang was back in the pattern, I'd let him know. About 20 minutes later, I heard the Mustang call the tower, saying he was 8 miles out and asked to be cleared for a flyover of runway 18. The controller okayed the flyover, and I got out of my car, scanner in hand, and binoculars around my neck. I let the father and son know the Mustang was approaching from the north, and they got out of their car too. A few minutes later, the Mustang came in at about 300 feet. It was beautiful. He did a 180 and came back just slightly west, now paralleling 36 as the gear lowered. I was looking through my binoculars and watched the wheels as they came down, as I had only seen before in films. What a sight! I realized that as an airplane geek, if I'd only seen a P-51 flying only a couple of other times in my life, the odds were that the young father and his son may have never seen one before. I took my binoculars off from around my neck and offered them to the man. He thanked me and took them for a few minutes, watching intently, and went to hand them back to me. Seeing how excited his son was at what must have been his first look at a P-51, I asked the father if his son wanted to look through the binoculars too. I could see the grateful expression on the man's eyes when he said thank you and handed the binoculars to the boy. The smile on that little boy's face gleamed like the Mustang in the sun. It may have been the same smile that was on my face when I first saw a P-51. A few minutes later, the Mustang came back around, landed on 1A, taxied back to the FBO, and was out of sight. The man handed me back the binoculars, and the boy had an ear-to-ear grin. So no, I didn't have anyone to go see the Collings Foundation aircraft with that year. And no, I didn't pay to get up close to those beautiful airplanes. But maybe I did something that's even more important, to keep those 70-something-year-old aircraft flying. Maybe what I did is what airplane geeks are supposed to do, and must do, if we want to continue to see those airplanes fly, and hear the roar of 4 radial engines take flight together, or the growl of a Rolls-Royce Merlin at 300 feet. Maybe I helped in the making of a new young airplane geek, who will, like me, and probably like you too, rejoice in the passions of those great sights and sounds for years to come. So yeah, I guess I am an airplane geek. For Plane Talking UK, here in Portland, Maine in the USA, this is your main man, Micah.
And a massive, massive thank you to Micah for sending that in.
I must admit
nice
that was one of my highlights from Farnborough as well. Is just watching how amazing that Micah was with Pip's kid like Isaac,
Yeah.
and it was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
He's an
Teaching
awesome
him how to
chap.
make
He's
the
an awesome-
aeroplanes and stuff. It was.
And I have to say, whilst you were we were listening to Micah there, I just mentioned to Matt as well that we're lucky here where we live. On the east coast of England, in the village where we live here, we've got a chap who lives not too far away from where we are here, and he's got amongst other aircraft, he's actually got a P-51 Mustang, and at weekends he very kindly sort of flies over the village
every weekend,
and gives us some pretty amazing air shows, literally just out this window here in front of me here. Which he did on Sunday, which was great. Just hearing that the noise of the Mustang in the dive is pretty cool. It made me run outside anyway Sunday.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't take a lot. All you have to do is
Mustang.
yeah. As you say, it's such a unique noise, isn't it? You can't identify it with any other aircraft. You really can't.
So when we have got a bit of feedback that we had sent in to us from a wonderful listener, Barbara. And,
Indeed, yes, the lovely Barbara Parish.
She
Sorry,
sent us in a lovely email, and
and it's going back to what we were talking about, obviously, because we were talking about favourite airline, and she says that Barbara's favourite airline is United Arab Emirates. I've flown on so many airlines since I was 2 years of age, and have had a long list of airlines that I could choose from. But the best all-round airline for me is United Arab Emirates. I flew with them in 2014 to Australia when I visited my 90-year-old grandmother who lives in Sydney. I flew some of the journey on a UAE Boeing 777 then, I believe, like Captain Nick. I flew to the Land of Oz on a UAE A380 economy class. Despite being in economy, I have to say we were treated so well, almost at times like we were in business class, although I have never actually experienced that. We got a great goodie bag with all the essentials. The food was delicious, the hot towels refreshing, and we were even offered an array of fresh fruit. Oh wow, fresh fruit! Got to love fresh fruit on a flight. The best of all were the beautiful little red veiled hats that the stewardesses wore. I was in awe, so much so that when I transferred at Dubai, I had to get one of those hats. I eventually tracked one down in the United Arab Emirates shop. Unfortunately, it was a toy one, but it fit fit me brilliantly. Oh, and I wear it on a rainy day or sitting in my garden looking up at the sky and the vapour trails or watching the jets coming into land into East Midlands Airport as I live under the landing flight path. It's not the real UAE stewardess hat, but one can only dream. Oh well, maybe one day. Carlos and Miami Rick would be very pleased to hear that the only downside of the flight was the Airbus A380 interior design. Despite being a great aircraft to look at, I feel it doesn't come anywhere near the design and comfort of the good old Boeing 747 jumbo jet, which is by far the most spacious and has more large windows to look out of, especially at the back, and a longer space to stretch your legs. The only other airline I want to commend is Qantas, who, when I was a child in 1981, flying back from Sydney, gave all the children a special Neptune certificate to say that we had crossed the equator. Those were the days.
Aww.
What a lovely email. Thank you very much for taking
Barbara.
the time to write that,
Thank
Barbara.
you.
Absolutely.
And I wholeheartedly agree, Barbara.
Well,
yes.
you would, yes, I know,
Yes.
but you're
the interior of the Queen of the Skies is much better than the A380.
Oh, here we
Yes.
go. Anyway, enough of this before we get emails and chat room complaints. It's time.
So we have got someone with us, haven't we?
Very
From
special guest,
from all the way over in the US, and she's been very patient to join us and everything today on the show. So
No, it's been wonderful to join you. I loved being here.
So Jen,
Exciting.
tell us a bit then about what it is you do.
What it is I do? Well, I work for the Regional Airport Authority, and we actually run 3 airports: a general aviation airport, a cargo airport, and then a passenger airport. And I work in accounting. I know, kind of disappointing.
Yeah, but
not
somebody's
very
got
glamorous.
to. Somebody has to crunch those numbers, and I can't think of anyone better to do it than you, frankly. So, absolutely.
Well, the nice thing about working for accounting, I think, is that you do get to see and be involved in a lot of the different things that go on at the airport. So, I pay the bills for the K9 vet visits, and the toilet paper and the jet bridge repairs. And just today I got an invoice in for a localizer and some landing systems that they're putting in at the cargo airport. So as an aviation person, I find a lot of that really fascinating.
So how did your love of aviation sort of start? I mean, what was the building blocks, if you like, to your love of planes?
That's a good question. As a child, I grew up just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and we got a lot of air traffic over our home. A lot of flights coming into Philadelphia, but also into Dover Air Force Base and into some smaller general aviation airports. So the skies over my parents' house were always really busy. And I think it kind of started for me there. We also, because we lived way out in the countryside, there was someone, and I never did find out who would come out and practice their aerobatic flying over the house.
Oh, wow.
And I used to see them out there, and it was wonderful. It was, a private air show. So those were probably 2 of the big things. The third, I was really bored one day, and I borrowed a book from my brother. It was called Midway. I had no idea what it was about, but I was really bored, so I thought, all right, I'll give this book a try. And of course, it was about the Battle of Midway. And it was my first exposure to aircraft carriers. And just the idea that airplanes can take off and land on ships at sea just kind of blew my mind. And so that was sort of the third piece that went into, building a real interest in aviation when I was younger. But I set that aside for a long time. And it really wasn't until maybe 3 or 4 years ago that interest sort of sparked up again. And I was working for a Fortune 500 restaurant company at that time. But I decided, I'm not interested in restaurant companies. I'm interested in aviation. What can I do to get into the aviation industry? What skills do I have? And a job happened to come open at the airport for accounting, and the rest is history.
I mean, actually, one of my friends, he is a qualified pilot, but he's just been struggling to get sort of like a commercial sort of, someone to sort of take him on to fly for real. And he's actually been working as ground crew just because he is so obsessed by aviation. He's just desperate to do anything to do with aviation in the hope that one day it'll lead to living the dream, if you like, of flying chartered aircraft and things. So, I mean, it's...
Sure. Well, I'm fortunate in that my department is on the ground level, and it looks out at the south runway. And it also looks out, there's, I think, 4 gates that go along my department. So there are airplanes coming and going outside the department all day long. And they won't give me a desk with a window, unfortunately.
How rude.
So I can't see them.
How dare they not?
Yeah, but every time I hear them, I leap up and run to the window. I'm hoping eventually they'll just give in and give me a desk by the window.
Could you not just
so
sort of knock a hole in the
running.
wall where you are, perhaps, and sort of, do it old school way, sort of knock out a few bricks so you can see how it's
Yeah, no, because they very cleverly placed me at a cubicle in the middle of the space.
It's just
So,
not fair,
I
is it?
know.
No.
No, it's wrong.
So,
So you can write to my boss and let her know.
Okay, we'll all do that en masse. Everyone will email your boss immediately. Yes.
So the airport...
Please give Jennifer a desk by the window.
Yes, absolutely. It's only fair.
The airport you work at then, Jen, is it mostly commercial GA, or is it a mix of different aircraft?
So the airport where I work at, it's a pretty healthy mix of commercial, and you see mostly regional jets, so Embraers, and then the smaller, like the Airbus, the A320, the Boeing 737s, but also quite a lot of business jets, and some general aviation as well. So it's a nice mix. And I never know what I'm going to see when I get a break and get to go up top and do some plane spotting. I never know what's going to be out there, and so that makes it a lot of fun.
Actually, I was going to say, do you get a chance to go airside much where you are, or is it have you got a viewing kind of area where you can go and look at the
I
aircraft?
wish that we had a viewing area. The best viewing area that we have is really on top of the parking garage, and people actually do park and go and hang out and plane spot from up there. I've been sort of dropping hints here and there that it might be a really nice idea to actually have a more formal viewing area where people can come. I really strongly believe that since 9/11, where airports have to be so concerned with safety, that they've really sort of shut out the general public. So
it's the same
only
here in the
people-
UK. We used to have some fantastic viewing galleries here in the UK.
Right.
And the same sort of thing since 9/11, really. A lot of them have all been shut. I don't know if the best one I've ever seen was the one at Manchester Airport, and I don't know if that's still going, but I mean, that had a proper sort of sky viewing platform, and you could literally see most of all the runways and air traffic control towers and all sorts. It's such a shame, really. And what was so lovely about, obviously, with the AP, with the little meetup that they did in Schiphol, was the area where they were sat. And I mean, some of the
They had a great viewing gallery. Yeah.
photos and stuff that they were sending, because they could see most of the runways. It was just I'm amazed it's not something. Even if I would happily pay to go and sit in these galleries. I mean, I'm amazed it isn't a revenue stream that they're not tapping into. Do you know what I mean? It's because there is such an interest in aviation.
I agree. Well, I've brought that up. My airport is looking to build a new terminal. Now, that process takes a very, very long time. So it will be 15 to 20 years before the new terminal can be completed. But while they're in the blueprint stage, I've been dropping hints that they should consider having some viewing areas. Airports struggle sometimes to have good relationships with their neighbors. And I think part of that goes back to the fact that the neighbors are really shut out of the airport. They only get to see what goes on there if they're flying somewhere. And, you know, many of them are not flying anywhere, and they don't get an opportunity to come and see what's going on at the airport and see how interesting it really is. So I really, you know, I think it's important for airports to try to find a way to allow their neighbors to come and see what's going on. It's fascinating.
So that's the day job, obviously. So you're working, you know, it's the closest at the moment you can get to living the dream, as I always say. Well, I mean, so how did the blog come about? Obviously, you know, you've got talesfromtheterminal.com. So what sort of made you sort of want to start doing some journalism, basically?
Well, I've always liked writing, and I received some encouragement from some friends who said, you know, you really should blog. And I thought about it, but I really struggled to find a topic that I felt I could write about consistently until I started working at the airport. And then once I started working there were so many things that I wanted to write about. I usually have maybe 3 or 4 things that I'm working on at any given time, just because there's so many interesting things that I get to see because I'm behind the scenes a little bit that other people maybe don't get to see, and I really enjoy sharing that.
I mean, I remember my family member. He lives out in, was it Yellowstone? I think it is.
Yeah,
he lives.
Yellowstone. Yeah,
yeah.
We had him on the show, didn't we?
We had him on the show as a guest, and he sort of. I remember him saying to me, "It's like, why do you want to interview me?" Because he sort of forgets really that his very mundane job, because he flies sort of seaplanes in and out, and that to the rest of the world, what he does for a living is so fascinating, you know. And he sort of he feels really bad. He's like when he's telling stories and that, he's sort of worried that he's boring people, and it's like, no, you're not boring anyone. This is amazing, and that's what's so lovely about your blog. It's really sort of, you know, writing from the heart, if you like, and it's clear when you read it that you have such a love of aviation. And may I say, it's lovely to see some good quality writing for a change as well.
Very true.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And honestly, the blog is just, you know, it's just my opportunity to spew endlessly about how much I love airplanes and airports and everything that goes into it. Yeah, I really do. I mean, don't get me wrong, accounting, it's kind of boring. It is.
I know, but somebody has to do it.
Somebody
has
at
to
the
count
airport,
yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
And without the accounting, there would be no airport. There's no two ways about that. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So
we've got a question for you, Jen, from the chat room, and Tony S. Tony S is asking, if you could hop on any commercial flight from your airport, where would you fly to?
So it has to be a commercial flight from my airport, huh?
Apart from obviously here, coming to
either Heathrow, Stansted, or whatever,
where would you want to go?
Well, my airport is currently. They've been trying to lure more international business, and they have approached BA. I think they've also been approached by, I believe, Japan Airlines. But sadly, neither of those things have come to fruition yet. So I would have to say, if I had to pick one of the current flights that's out there, I would probably go to San Francisco or possibly Las Vegas.
Oh, yes.
Somewhere toward the west.
Yes. You got to go to Las Vegas.
I love Vegas.
Yeah.
I want to go back there.
You can lose so much money in about 10 minutes in Las Vegas.
Really?
I love it. That's the rumor.
Well, I've been, but it's been many years, so I'd like to go back.
Absolutely.
Micah, our main man Micah, in the chat room said he's curious about the history of the cargo airport. Without giving too much away, the cargo airport came about after it was closed as a military base. How was it developed into cargo? If you could answer that.
That's a really good question, Micah, and I'll try to answer it. I don't think I really know sort of all the ins and outs of how that happened, but it was operating as a separate airport. And you're right, it did have it was a military base, and it does still function. I think there's are refueling, an Air National Guard refueling unit that operates down there. But the airport was separate. And then I want to say somewhere maybe 8, 9 years ago, maybe even more like 10 years ago now, it became part of the Regional Airport Authority. And so it became, it was run by the same people who were running the passenger airport where I work. And I think they sort of took a look at what kind of businesses do we have a lot of in the area, and what would be the best way to sort of maximize the usage of that airport. And it just so happens that there are a lot of logistics centers and warehouses right next door to the airport. So sort of setting it up to be a cargo airport was really, it's just a perfect fit for that airport. And I have to say, I'm a little jealous that I don't get to go down there more often, because that's where all the really cool airplanes go. The Cathay Pacific and yes, military.
Now, Jonathan, behave yourself.
And the C-130s. But also Cathay Pacific and Cargolux fly their big 737-8 or 747-8s, excuse me. Let's see who else. Atlas flies in there. Emirates flies 777.
Oh, wow.
In there. Etihad has been in and out a lot recently. So some of the more interesting airplanes are down there. So I need to dig up more excuses. I need to go audit something down there.
Yeah.
Account something.
Yeah. You need to go and audit some, you need to take some paperwork.
I need to go audit something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, my security badge is for the airport where I work. I'm not badged for that airport down there, but hopefully soon.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you walk through with confidence.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, absolutely. You just yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, Jonathan's completely right.
All you need, it's what I say. We're at the company I work for. All you need, Jennifer,
careful, this is a family show.
All you need is a fluorescent jacket,
a
clipboard, a pen, and look serious.
Right.
And you'll go anywhere.
Yeah, but Jenny's far too nice. She's not.
The fact is, I have friends that, we pay the bills for that airport. So I'm very, very involved in that airport. And I'm sure all I have to do is pick up the phone and say, hey, I'd like to come and spend an afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So have you had a chance then, Jen, to have a go at any kind of GA flying yourself, any sort of Cessna flying or anything?
Well, yes. This past spring, I took an introductory flight in a Mooney, and that was quite a lot of fun. That was quite an adventure. A friend of the family is a CFI, and he said, hey, why don't you come on out and give it a try? And I thought, oh, okay, aren't you brave to suggest that I should fly an airplane? So so I went out, and it was really quite amazing. It was a lot of fun. I remember sort of flying along, and I looked over and realized I was the only person with the hands on the controls. And I remember saying to him, what are you doing? Put your hands back on the controls. I should not be the only person flying this plane. But it was good fun, and I'm definitely considering whether I should continue, maybe do another lesson. So it's something I've been thinking seriously about, but I haven't done yet.
You've got the bug for it. There's no two ways about it, is there? I think that's,
I don't know. I love airplanes. Me flying them, I just don't know.
Yeah, quite happy to be Well, it's sorry. It's just, as you see, that's because you're a very classy lady. So you like to be chauffeured around everywhere.
Yes.
See, that's what it is. Yeah.
But see, it doesn't work that way. I haven't been. Nobody's showed up to chauffeur me. So
honestly,
I'm accepting volunteers if
Splendid.
anybody would like to take that on.
I'm sure there's a chat room full of people who would be more than delighted to.
Yeah, he flies a nice little biz jet. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love biz jets. So gate B19, park at that gate, exit, knock on the glass door. That's where you'll find me.
Yes, no, that's fantastic. Now, I heard a little rumour that you're rather partial to an air show or two. Is that the case?
I love air shows. Sure, who doesn't?
Is there any in particular that sort of spring to mind as favourites? I mean, have you been lucky enough to go to many?
Not that many, but I would say probably my favorite would have to be Oshkosh.
Right.
But to call Oshkosh an air show is really kind of a disservice. It's a whole lot more than just an air show. It's huge.
Right.
And yes, it does have a daily air show, and it even has nighttime air shows, which if you've never experienced that, they're amazing. But it also has forums and seminars and classes and movies and concerts, and it's quite an event. It really is.
Yeah, it sounds like something we'll have to try and get ourselves.
I know we have all the intentions in the world to because obviously, as you know, the APG guys and everything, and the Airplane Geek, Brian and Micah came over to the UK this year. And hopefully, fingers crossed,
we're going to try and
try
our
very best to return the favour next year.
Yeah.
And
where they're going to have to get
love
us on the air.
for you guys to make Oshkosh, but if that doesn't work, I hope that we can work something else out. That I would love to meet you guys. I would love to have you over here, but I am a little concerned about whether Matt can handle an overseas flight.
All right. I was hoping we would get. I was hoping we would get through an entire podcast where that wasn't mentioned. But thanks for that. Jennifer.
Sorry, I had to bring it up.
It's fine.
I think you can still get a ferry.
You can still get a ferry.
If you leave now, you'll get there by next year.
I'll get there by August. Yes. No, that's true. No. Now I have to say, as many people know, the lovely Captain Al has been helping me there. I am actually feeling surprisingly confident, and I'm quite keen to try another flight, ideally long haul. So it could well happen. Well, it's there's not really a lot else to say other than the fact that the love for your wonderful blog, Jennifer, is massive in the chat room here.
Yeah.
Jenny, the lovely Jenny in Rome, was saying that she agrees with Matt on the good quality writing and professionally presented blog. Tales from the Terminal is great, so that's nice to see. Mila is also saying that your blog is wonderful, Jenny. It really shows your love of aviation. So as I say, there's plenty of love for your great blog. Do please keep it up.
Definitely.
Oh, I will, and thank you guys all so very, very much. It's I just kind of threw it out there just to throw it out there, and have been pleasantly overwhelmed and surprised by how many people seem to enjoy it. So thank you so much.
Oh, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
we're gonna go overrun and go with the live with the APG.
Yeah, I think we should just go live with APG now. We're so close to their start time, it's just not funny. But with that in mind, yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is now, I'm sorry to say, time to bring
wrap things up.
This episode number 132 to a close.
But we have to say a big thanks as well to Jonathan for joining us this evening as well, and bring us his views as well. So. Hello and thank you to you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Anytime.
Yes, yeah, we're gonna have a nice little chat afterwards about.
So before we wrap up things, then, Jonathan, where can people find out more bits about? Because you obviously take some great photos as well, don't you? Is there somewhere where the listeners can find you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. Search Jonathan Warner, and there's a picture of me getting my head chopped off by an Apache.
Oh, nice, nice, as you do.
Not quite chopped off, just above me. Instagram, I can't remember what my username is.
Good, excellent. Okay, what you'll do is you'll email those to us, and we'll put them in the show notes for when the episode is released. That sounds like
the main type for my photos is actually Flickr.
Okay, cool.
Right, okay.
All right. Well, so stick.
Flickr.
Send us all the links, and we'll put it in. I've managed to find. I don't know whether it's just because I'm logged in as me, but anyway, yes. So we'll make sure we do that. Now, obviously, as we were saying earlier, obviously Jenny's lovely blog. It is. I'm going to pop it up on the page for you if you haven't seen it already. It is talesfromtheterminal.com, where you can find that. It's a recommended read. It really is. It's some good journalism right there.
So, are there any other places on the social media sites and Jen where people can find out more about what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. You can find me on Twitter. I'm very active on on Twitter, as you guys all know. It's Jen Niffer, so JEN_NIFFER. And you can also find me. I'm recently on Instagram. I just started an account on there. And on there, it's Tales from the Terminal. And can I just really quickly give a big thank you to Micah, who helped me a little bit with the microphone setup and everything else. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Micah.
Yay.
Yeah, we all a lot of love for Micah.
Everyone loves Micah.
It's a real privilege to have him as part of our little thing, actually.
Family.
He sends us some great... I love it when we get an email with Micah's email address in it. It's just like, yes,
definitely.
Excellent. It's marvellous. So, yes, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. That is where we bring episode number 132 to a close. Thanks very much for listening and watching. To watch our show, obviously, you can catch up afterwards. If you haven't been able to catch the live show, obviously, it will always be available as an audio download, as it were. It is www.planetalkinguk.com. As we mentioned earlier, we're running a livery poll, livery, however you want to do it. We've had some great emails already. Please keep them coming in. It's podcast@planetalkinguk.com. If you want to find us on Facebook, it is facebook.com/planetalkinguk, and our Twitter handle is @planetalkinguk.
So a special thanks then to everyone who's joined us in the chat room live this evening on the show. Loads and loads of names to mention now. I'm guessing that a lot of these guys are going to be switching over now.
Yes, we're all now going to switch, including us here in the studio. We're now going to switch over to the APG show. So it's a real aviation.
Merge into their show.
Yeah,
I know.
I did sort of. I was wondering whether to sort of suggest maybe we just do one massive podcast and we'll just get them all, because I've got the gear here to be able to join it all
servers
together.
would melt down.
No, it'd be fine. It'd be fine. I'd be able to work it out. It's fine.
I could debut on 2 big podcasts in one day.
Yeah. Well, this is it. It could be one massive thing.
But
so.
no, a
That
huge
would've been
thanks.
fun.
A huge thanks to everyone who's, like I said, joined us in the chat room today, and obviously a big thank you to our two amazing guests this evening, Jonathan and Jen. Thank you for giving up your time.
So
today.
generously as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Very kind of you.
Thank you. It was
Thanks for having
fun.
me.
So yes, we'll put us all up on the screen there, so everybody can see. So everybody give everyone a wave as we bring episode 132 to a close. Thanks very much, everyone. Goodbye.
Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Woohoo!